জয় রাধা মাধব কুঞ্জ माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Like this, just like that. Oh, and there's me. Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes, Maharaj, we can hear you.
Hare Krishna.
I can
We
hardly.
heartily welcome His Holiness BB Govinda Swami Maharaj with by loudly chanting once Hare Krishna Mahamantra, everyone. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We are very, very fortunate to have a wonderful association with His Holiness Bhakti Govinda Swami Maharaj. He is a Prabhupada disciple and very, very lovingly, closely associated with Charu Swami Maharaj. So, Maharaj, please accept our humble obeisances. All glory to your holiness, all glory to Prabhupada.
Good morning, everyone. Hare Krishna. We hope that everybody is well. We hope that everybody is well, and we hope that everybody is in a very prayerful mood for the health and welfare of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. Last night, before I took rest, I contacted my friend and probably godbrother of many of you, His Grace Sunil Mohan in South Africa. He's a very dear disciple of Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and he's a doctor and he's part of the consulting team. And every day we speak and I ask him, what is the current situation with Bhakti Charu Maharaj? And Sunil Mohan is telling me that the situation is getting better day by day. And that is, he attributes it to the prayers of the devotees plus the expert medical attention that Maharaj is receiving in America. I request all of you, in the same way that I have been doing and requesting all of my disciples, to always keep the prayer on your lips to Lord Krishna, that if he so desires to cure Bhakti Charu Maharaj and keep him with us in this world for a much longer time. Bhakti Charu Maharaj is a rare jewel in the galaxy of Vaishnava devotees. I've been a member of ISKCON for 50 years, and we have many wonderful God brothers and God sisters, and we have many wonderful devotees who have come in generations after ourselves. Bhakti Charu Maharaj he's just so wonderful because he epitomizes the definition that Srila Prabhupada gave of a Vaishnava. We know that once a devotee asked Prabhupada, what is the definition of a Vaishnava? And Prabhupada said, a Vaishnava is a perfect gentleman. And that's our Bhakti Charu Maharaj. He's a very cultured and refined gentleman. He understands the culture of Krishna consciousness. You know, in many years I've seen that some people become very adept in reciting verses from Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. But when it comes to the application of Krishna conscious culture, then, you know, sometimes it's sadly not seen. But Bhakti Charu Maharaj is sort of like personification of our wonderful culture. He is a true devotee of Srila Prabhupada. He is a true devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's very obvious that he's blessed with the mercy of Prabhupada just because of the accomplishments in his glorious life. I came to Vrindavan for the first time in 1976, just for a visit to attend the Mayapur festival. I went to Mayapur, and it seemed like we were in Mayapur a long time that year. And I was really eager to leave Mayapur when it was time to leave Mayapur. I wanted to come to Vrindavan. And when we got to Vrindavan, I felt like I had just come home. After the festival, I went back to the west, to the temple where I was serving, and then I decided to come back to India in 1977. And that's when I first met His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj. And he was a very young, of course we were all young, but you know, his coming to Krishna consciousness was something wonderful. He came to Krishna consciousness, first initiation, second initiation, sannyas, practically all in one fell swoop. And he was so dear to Prabhupada. One of my earliest recollections of a personal interaction with Maharaj was after August 28th, 1977. It was that evening when Srila Prabhupada, he left Vrindavan to go to the west for that final trip, where he made it only as far as Bhakti Vedanta Manor, and then he had to come back to India. And Bhakti Charu Maharaj was supposed to travel with Srila Prabhupada at that time, but his passport wasn't ready. And Prabhupada left Vrindavan probably about 2 o'clock in the morning. And I can recall we were all sitting outside of Prabhupada's house, and we were waiting for Prabhupada. And when he left for his final preaching tour, he was carried to the car in the palanquin. And when he was placed in the car, he had to lie down. That's how weak Prabhupada was when he was leaving to go for his final preaching tour in the West. And we were all heartbroken. We were all devastated because we were feeling that we would never see Srila Prabhupada again. So the next morning, I was the cook in Vrindavan. And the next morning, I decided to go to Prabhupada's kitchen to clean in there. And when I walked into Prabhupada's kitchen, I found Bhakti Charu Maharaj sitting in there, and he was weeping and he was crying because of his feelings of separation from Srila Prabhupada, and he couldn't be with Prabhupada, and he couldn't travel with Srila Prabhupada and be there to serve Srila Prabhupada. And we know that Prabhupada made it as far as London, and then he had his health turnaround, and he came back first to Bombay, and then he came up to Vrindavan, where he spent his final days. And if any of you all ever listened to the 1977 room conversations with Srila Prabhupada, and if you don't listen to those, I highly recommend that you listen to those. It just records the whole life of this last year of Srila Prabhupada and how his health gradually declined. And he was always with his circle of confidential devotees. And one of those devotees was Bhakti Charu Maharaj. And oftentimes when Prabhupada would just need personal care, need personal attention, need somebody to speak to, need somebody to console him, need somebody to touch him and share him some love, he would call Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and you can hear them speaking in their Bengali language. And Bhakti Charu Maharaj just so gently and so lovingly encouraging Srila Prabhupada. So he's blessed devotee, and his whole career in preaching Krishna consciousness, he has been blessed. He has accomplished so many wonderful things, and he's touched the hearts of so many devotees. But all of us God brothers, and I think all of you, our point is that we're not really prepared at this point that our Bhakti Charu Maharaj go away. So therefore we should make this concerted effort that, consciously we're keeping this prayer in our mind, for the protection and for the health and for the recovery of Bhakti Charu Maharaj. We want him to be here for a much longer time. He has, I'm sure that if he remains with us, he will perform many more wonderful activities in the service to Srila Prabhupada and to the service of the Vaishnava community of devotees, and to greater humanity by sharing with them Krishna consciousness. My interactions with Bhakti Charu Maharaj over the years have always been very sweet. He's always been very kind to myself. And my dear friend Shivaram Swami. Well, Shivaram Swami is the most intelligent person, and he's a very cultured gentleman. So I can understand why Bhakti Charu Maharaj and Shivaram Maharaj come together so nicely. I'm not very intelligent, and I'm not a gentleman. But still, Bhakti Charu Maharaj has always been very kind and merciful to me. Shivaram Swami Maharaj and myself, one of the highlights of our year, every year, is when we'd go to the GBC meetings in Mayapur, Bhakti Charu Maharaj would invite us to take prasadam with him. And I tell you, I don't know anybody who has trained the cooks to cook as nicely as Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Yes, so everybody continue with your prayers. Everybody please tell Lord Krishna that you want Maharaj to be here for a longer time, and you want him to recover strongly. And I would make a request to all of you, because I assume that most of the people that I'm speaking to here are the disciples of Bhakti Charu Maharaj. And I would request that all of you become much more careful in your practices of sadhana bhakti yoga and Krishna consciousness. We have all of our regulative principles, and I would like to request all of the disciples of Bhakti Charu Maharaj to be very careful and very attentive in following all of these principles. It is a fact that spiritual masters, they feel discomfort when disciples misbehave. So everybody become very, very attentive that you're following principles nicely. And then everybody be very attentive that you're following the most essential principle of Krishna consciousness, which is the careful chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And careful chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra and proper chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, it means chanting without committing offenses. We know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Dudaivami Drishami Hajamina Anuraga, that because I commit offenses while chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I cannot get deep attachment to the chanting. So my request for all of you is carefully chant the holy names. Understand that this chanting is the great mantra for deliverance. This chanting is none different from Lord Krishna. And it's really the best prayer that we can chant for any soul within this world. So follow your principles nicely and engage in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra very carefully and very nicely. Make sure that you're absorbing yourselves in reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Become more careful and more attentive to your practices of bhakti. And then keep that prayer in your heart to Lord Krishna, that he will allow Guru Maharaj to recover and he will stay with us for many, many years to come. Well, I don't know many of you personally, but I've been blessed that I have a lot of personal association with Bhakti Charu Maharaj's disciples in South Africa. And they're all ideal Vaishnavas. I do have the association of Subhash Sham. I know him. And he's a wonderful ideal Vaishnava. So this time, everybody do their best. Everybody really be careful in your practices of devotional service. Everybody be careful in your chanting of the Maha Mantra. Everybody be careful, keeping your mind fixed in prayers. And I'm sure that we will see a positive outcome of this situation. I mean, things have changed a lot. Last Friday, the situation, it was looking very fearful. But now, on Wednesday, it seems like the situation is much better. Sunil Mohan told me last night that if Maharaj continues doing as nicely as he has been doing, then they will try to remove the ventilator and see if he can breathe on his own. And then that will be a real sign of steady improvement. So everybody do your best and keep your prayers very focused and keep your Krishna consciousness very focused. And my heart and my prayers are with you. Every day I'm praying a lot for my God brother because I love him very much. And every day I'm chanting the Narasingha Kavacha for the protection of Maharaj. And I'm chanting Mahamantra for the protection of Maharaj. And when I lead my japa session in the morning, I'm requesting my disciples to please chant with the prayer for the safety of Maharaj. So I think that by Krishna's grace, we'll see a positive outcome. All right. Thank you all very, very much. It's been a pleasure to be with you all. And Hare Krishna.
Dear Maharaj, we will request if you would like to narrate some of pastimes of Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj with you, if time permits you, or you feel to conclude now, or as you like.
I think that I've said sufficient for the time. I've given the essential message that I need to give. Everybody just keep themselves fixed up in Krishna consciousness and everything will be all right. Okay, thank you all very much.
Okay. We express our gratitude to Subal Shyam Prabhu to invite Maharaj. He is very closely associated with Maharaj and he is rendering wonderful services. Subal Shyam Prabhu, would you like to express your gratitude? And Bhakti Prem Swami Maharaj, would you like to please express? Please unmute Subal Shyam Prabhu and
yeah. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hey, where are you? I can't see you.
Yeah, here I am. And yeah, so thank you so much, Maharaj, that you came and you inspired us. Actually, to be very honest, I am always inspired by you, and it is so much of, I could say you give so much of motivation and inspiration to all of us. And today, in this such a crucial time when Guru Maharaj is actually so sick, and sometimes it happens that even the disciples like us, they feel so pain and they are shattered and they are breakdown, and so many things happens. But you being so mercifully being there with us and encouraging us, and that is actually helping us to remain focused. And also, as you said, that we should rectify ourselves, we should check what is going wrong and how we are not properly being into Krishna consciousness, and that is the reason why Guru Maharaj is suffering. So this message is actually very inspiring, and personally I would like to check myself again as you was narrating now. And of course, thank you so much for being so kind and being so wonderful and being here to encourage all of us. And I am really very grateful to you for all the love and affection that you have given to all of us. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
I think we should all...
Maharaj, we request Bhakti Prem Swami Maharaj to express some gratitude.
Maharaj,
I will.
I got a chance to serve you as a brahmachari in Mayapur, serving Guru Maharaj. That time I got some chance to serve you. I am Tota Gopinath, Dr. Radhapriya Mata is good from me. So Maharaj, I am humbly requesting you, like you told us to follow four regulatory principle and chanting. But when we are in association with the devotees, co-regulative principle is not so difficult to follow, but still in association with the devotees, chanting also attentively is very difficult without offense. If you have time permits, could you please explain how we can improve our chanting without?
I will simply repeat the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Trinadapi Sunichena Tororapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. In verse 2, he says, Dridayava Midrisha Mihajamina Anuraga. And then, because he is Acharya, he gives us the process of rectification in the next verse, which is that we should always chant with in a humble state of mind, and considering ourselves lower than the straw on the streets. We should become extraordinarily tolerant. We should see everybody as the resting place. Every body is the resting place of Krishna, and give appropriate respect. But we should never desire respect for ourselves. And that is the methodology that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed us to perform our devotional service and to chant Hare Krishna. And I think it's either Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He says that these four qualities are like jewels. And if we endeavor to capture these jewels, then our chanting will become perfect. And when the chanting is perfect, our lives will become perfect. So daily we should reflect, we should see where we are in our process of chanting, and we should try to take a step closer and closer and closer to developing the proper attitude. And for goodness sake, we should never become complacent in the process of chanting Hare Krishna. And that is what Mahaprabhu has said. So Mahaprabhu's instructions are much better than any instruction that I can give. Okay, so you are the Bhakti Prem Swami I've heard about. How long have you been a sannyasi?
And 2015 months.
2015. And where are you from?
I joined Mayapur. I was Mayapur till 2001 from Calcutta. Radhapriya Mataji was there to kind of 3 years, and from 2004 I moved there.
Ah, nice to see you.
Thank you, Maharaj, to allow me to serve you.
Allow me to serve you. Okay, everyone, I will go. My morning puja is waiting for me. We've had our morning sadhana, japa online. Now it's time for worshipping my deities. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. We feel high gratitude for you for giving such repeated instruction, which are very essential for us to improve our sadhana, with not offensive in chanting to the Vaishnavas and now. So thank you very much for giving your time and association and such inspiration.
You do that, that's the best thing you can do for Guru Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai. Bhakti Govinda Swami Maharaj ki jai. Srimad Vaishnava Brand ki jai.
Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.